pretty much smoked steadily from age 12-ish to about 31. And it became very, very habitual over a period of time to where I really couldn't do anything without smoking a cigarette. I couldn't wake up in the morning and have breakfast. I would want a cigarette. When I used to smoke, half a pack a day, I couldn't run, I couldn't work out. I'd be winded very quickly. I'd wake up in the morning coughing up a lung, coughing up phlegm, and I hated all of those things. Now I can breathe, I can run a mile, I can work out. I'm physically able to do all of those things that I would have wanted to do that I wasn't able to because I was smoking. So physically, the improvement has been night and day.
I started when I was pretty young, 11 almost, I think. I think almost my entire life is part of my recovery, and it's a constant look at what I can do better. And how I can improve my life, where I'm looking at it and like this isn't part of who I want to be in the future. I think that's what recovery is. 24 hours a day, you're looking at yourself, how can I better this moment? It's difficult. I would say, I'm in recovery, I would say quitting smoking is almost as hard, if not more difficult than it was to quit drugs.
When I was at my peak, I was probably smoking about a pack and a half a day, pack a day. I needed to quit. I was sick of it. I didn't want to smoke anymore. Something had flipped and I was like, nope, I'm done. I did all of these different things and nothing seemed to help, and I couldn't figure out why. So it was a failed attempt, and I'm gonna say I probably had 20 failed attempts in that time frame. When I finally made that decision that I needed to quit, I wanted to quit for me and for me only. That is when I was successful. It was one of the best decisions I ever made for me in my life.
First started dabbling in smoking, probably I was around 12. I was a smoker. Like, I could legitimately say I was a smoker by the time I was a junior in high school, where I would need, really every 2 hours or so was about my max. I needed to have a cigarette after about 2 hours. I was smoking about a pack and a half, sometimes a little bit more than that, but pretty consistently up until 34. Because I found out that I was going to have a child. So I was like, all right, well, we won't be smoking anymore. And when I found out I was expecting my daughter, was the last time I had a cigarette. Smoking takes effort, the way the world is today, I think, and it's really nice not to have to do that.
I started smoking when I was 16 years old. Never in my life did I think I'd be smoking 30, 40 years later. I quit smoking 3.5 years ago, and I'm 50. So the biggest thing for me was probably my son not seeing me smoke and not dying, because death is also a big influence. After a few months, I could feel that I had a lot more energy than I had in years.
Yeah, so I quit smoking cigarettes in December. I was ready to quit cigarettes. I was just sick of the hold that it had on me. I was sick of the cost. I was sick of the smell. Man, I really spent a lot of time out on the porch smoking cigarettes. Like, it took out a lot of minutes out of my day. Those minutes that could have been spent playing on the floor with my kids. So that was a huge factor, realizing like how much, whenever we'd be getting ready to go somewhere, I'd have to tell my kids, oh wait, I gotta go smoke a cigarette first. The smell too, like that, I just couldn't take it anymore. laying down in my bed at night and like, ugh, this is gross. Immediately, I noticed like health benefits. Like, I was breathing a lot easier. I would, I could go up the flight of stairs at my house and like, wow, I'm still breathing normal. I remember, I think it was like 2 or 3 days after I had quit the cigarettes, I went to take my clothes off at night and I'm like, what? They still smell like laundry soap.
I started being in recovery from alcohol and other drugs, and I just eventually decided that I didn't want to smoke cigarettes either, and just decided to quit one day. Quitting all my other addictions helped with quitting smoking, because like smoking went hand in hand with them. I can definitely run better. I play sports like softball. My breathing definitely is a lot better. And I smell better too, so that's a plus.
So I was addicted to probably about 2.5 packs, almost 3 packs a day. Probably from like 9 to, I want to say, to 30, 31-ish. I attempted to quit smoking multiple times. I couldn't smell a lot of things. So now that like I quit smoking, I can smell things that I haven't smelled in a lot of years. My clothes aren't like yellowish, my walls aren't yellow. It's just a clean feeling, you know, like it's a choice to smoke. And to learn the difference between it being a choice and not being a choice, like that's just the world of difference.
I started smoking back when I was approximately 10 years old. Cigarettes has been the hardest thing to be able to kick, and so I've been smoking now for approximately, I'd say over 10 years. Going through the withdrawals of nicotine was probably more difficult than going through any withdrawals from any drugs that I was doing at the time.
I was smoking about a pack a day. I smoked for a total of 8 years before I even started to attempt to quit. I found out I was pregnant January 9th of 2016, and that was the last time I had a cigarette. So it's been like 5 years now. Things smelled better and things taste better. And I was saving money too. Like I had extra money in my pocket, go figure, almost $10 a pack. So I would just tell myself, don't take that first cigarette. It's not worth it.